Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. What's the word? Book titles. A billion reasons. The solar system. Recently discovered presidential ads. And sports quotes. Player
On
one.
a snail, an onomatophore is a stalk with this at the end.
It's player one.
Yeah.
That's it. Select. If you set some Chinese punk on fire, it's because Chinese punk is this, from the Latin for set on fire. Player one.
Yeah.
Good for you. Please. A shako is a stiff, cylindrical one of these worn by soldiers. Let's hear it, player one. No. The correct response is a hat. Select. It's the medium on which you're traveling if you're in a hoy. Let's hear it, player one. Here's what we were looking for. Water. Please. If you've got quinsy, also known as tonsillitis, you've got swelling in this part of your body. Let's hear it, player one. Right, and you're back into some money. Player one. Hemingway got the title for this 1926 novel from Ecclesiastes. Player one.
Yeah.
You got it. You again. Dickens, let's see. Martin Sweetledew? No. Martin Sweetleback? No, I've got it. Martin this. We're talking about Chuzzlewit. Player one. Shakespeare's Sonnet 30 says, I summon up this, which became the title of a Proust work. Here's what we were looking for. Remembrance of things past. Select again. Faulkner was using Dark House as a novel title, but there was something about the light in this month. Here's the correct response. August. Player one. James Jones considered Old Soldiers Never Die as a title for his World War II novel, but settled on this from a Kipling line. We're talking about From Here to Eternity. Player one. All right, here with the clue is Jimmy.
Abraham Lincoln began appearing on billions and billions of pennies in this year, the 100th anniversary of his birth.
Let's hear it, player one. That's not right. Here's what we wanted. 1909. Select again. According to its website, this chain serves more than 1 billion finger-licking good chicken dinners annually. Yes, player one?
Yeah.
That's right. Way to go. Player one? Answer? The Daily Double. You are currently in the lead. What are you going to wager? Answer? Forbes magazine has estimated that this comic book boy is worth $24.7 billion. Here's what we wanted. Richie Rich. The only event the Time Almanac has listed under the heading 4.5 billion BC is this formed. The correct response is Earth. Player 1. This eccentric billionaire formed an aircraft company in 1934 to design racers. Here's the response we were looking for. Howard Hughes. You get to pick again. In December of 2006, NASA announced that water may have flowed on this planet's surface within the past decade. Okay, player 1. Good for you. Player 1. In 1980, Hermes, one of these objects, came within 300,000 miles of the Earth. It's player 1. That's not right. We're talking about an asteroid. Select on October 10th, 1846, 17 days after the discovery of this planet, its largest moon, Triton, was discovered. Player 1? Yes, you've got some money again. Player 1. These solar discharges, consisting of light, heat, and cosmic rays, may last up to an hour. Yes, player 1? Good. You get to... In July of 2005, scientists announced the discovery of Eris, a dwarf planet larger than Pluto, in this belt. Yes, player 1? Yep. Player 1. He said a nation half slave and half free can't exist. I say he's wrong. I'm Stephen Douglas, and I approved this message. It's player 1. You are correct. Player 1. So what if he's the first West Point grad president? Some say he drinks. You decide. I'm Horace Greeley, and I approve this message. The correct response is Ulysses S. Grant. Player 1. In 1814, this general had a pirate, Jean Lafitte, help him in New Orleans. What's next? I'm John Quincy Adams, and I approved this message. Let's hear it, player 1. No, sorry. Here's the response we were looking for. Andrew Jackson. Player 1. You elect him? I say in 7 months the economy will be in shambles. I'm Al Smith, and I approved this message. Here's the response we were looking for. Herbert Hoover. You get Alex Hamilton wants him to be president. Them's fighting words. I'm Aaron Burr, and I approved this message. Let's hear it, player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Thomas Jefferson. Player 1. Johnny Logan. We're honoring one of the all-time greats in baseball. Stan the Man Him. He's immoral. Here's the correct response. Stan Musial. Player 1. This Hall of Fame 1970s Reds catcher was thinking about making a comeback until I pulled a muscle vacuuming. We're talking about Johnny Bench. You again. He made Bartlett's with, if people don't want to come out to the ballpark, nobody's going to stop them. Here's the correct response. Yogi Berra. Player 1. This 1950s Yankee manager said of a pitcher, he don't smoke, he don't drink, he don't chase women, and he don't win. It's player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Casey Stengel. And here's the $1,000 clue. At a dinner, Redskins running back John Riggins begged this Supreme Court justice, "Baby, loosen up." Here's the correct response. Sandra Day O'Connor. The Jeopardy round will begin right after this. Clues are worth $400 to $2,000 in these categories. The 1920s. Astronomy. The essence of things. World Heritage Sites. A side of Kevin Bacon. And Writers at Rest. On January 7, 1927, transatlantic phone service began as the president of AT&T called this world capital. Okay, player one. You are correct. Select Chicago gangster Dion O'Banion, who started the practice of lavish arrangements at mob funerals, had this civilian trade. Here's what we were looking for. Florist. Select competition from the new Chevrolet spurred Henry Ford to introduce this new model in 1927. Let's hear it, player one. Sorry. The correct response is the Model A. You again. Fresh out of Columbia University in 1923, he debuted at the age of 20 with the New York Yankees. Okay, player one. Nope. Here's the correct response. Lou Gehrig. This evangelist made plenty of headlines in the 1920s, like in 1926 when she claimed to have been kidnapped. Here's the correct response. Amy Semple McPherson. We return to in 1979, these were discovered around Jupiter. Saturn has them too. Yes, player one? Right you are. The Milky Way is classified as this type of galaxy from the way its arms sweep around. It's player one. That's it. This name for radio sources that are among the brightest and most distant objects in the universe was coined in 1964. It's player one. Nope. Here's what we wanted. Quasar. Player one. A list of this planet's moons, including Oberon and Titania, reads like a who's who of Shakespeare. Player one. Correct. Player one. You can have a roaring good time watching this meteor shower that put on an historic show in 1833. Here's the correct response. The Leonids. We return a covering for the blade of a knife. Player one. Yeah. That's right. Way to go. You again. You'll be a contender if you know this term for a boxer who jabs with his right. Yes, player one. Sorry, that's wrong. We're talking about a southpaw. You again. Answer. One of the daily doubles. You are currently in the lead. You need to select your wager. Okay, here is the clue. The deliberate destruction of property or equipment by resistance fighters or enemy agents. Yes. Please, old school inhalant to give you a nicotine rush. Okay, player one. Good. You've got some money again. Please, from the Urdu for soldier, It was an Indian native who served in the British Army in the 1800s. Here's what we were looking for: a sepoy. Player 1. This entire Italian city, spread over 118 islands, is a World Heritage Site. The correct response is Venice. Player 1. Here's Kelly.
The pyramid known as the Castle is one of the wonders of this ancient Mayan city.
Player 1? No, that's not right. Here's the correct response: Chichen Itza. Player 1? This South American capital didn't exist 60 years ago. We're talking about Brasilia. Player 1. You can visit this country's Los Olmedos Historic Park even if you're not a Viking. Here's what we wanted: Canada. Player 1. A visit to this country's Komodo National Park shouldn't drag on all day. We're talking about Indonesia. Please pick again. Kevin had to go to space camp before playing the role of Jack Swigert in this film. Here's what we were looking for: Apollo 13. Player 1. Kevin had a cup of coffee in this 1982 Barry Levinson ensemble piece with chums Mickey Rourke, Paul Reiser, and Tim Daly. Here's the correct response: Diner. You get... Answer: the second Daily Double. You are in first place. What'll it be? All right, here's your clue. Holy triskaidekaphobia. Special effects guru Tom Savini had an arrow shoved through Kevin's throat in this 1980 flick. Yeah, good. Player 1. Kevin played Ensign Pulver in the TV remake of this 1955 movie. Here's the response we were looking for: Mr. Roberts. Player 1. Kevin could handle the truth as Captain Jack Ross in this 1992 legal drama written by Aaron Sorkin. Here's the response we were looking for: A Few Good Men. Player 1, you pick it. Her headstone at West Cemetery in Amherst says she was born December 10th, 1830. Called back May 15th, 1886. Here's what we wanted: Emily Dickinson. His grave is marked Reverend Charles Lutwidge Dodson. Fell asleep January 14th, 1898, aged 65 years. Here's the response we were looking for: Lewis Carroll. Player 1. Buried at the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in Concord, Massachusetts, she died 2 days after her father, Bronson. Here's what we wanted: Louisa May Alcott. This author of Metamorphosis rests at a Jewish cemetery in Prague, beneath a tombstone inscribed in Hebrew. Here's the correct response: Franz Kafka. And the $2,000 clue? A little detective work in a Hampshire churchyard, and you'll find the grave of this patriot, physician, and man of letters. We're talking about Arthur Conan Doyle. I'll see you for Final Jeopardy in just a moment. We've got the Final Jeopardy round here for you, and today it features this category: Before they were senators. So, what's your wager? All right, players, this is what it comes down to. Here is the Final Jeopardy clue. Later a U.S. Senator, in 1962, he made a famous 75,000-mile trip. Let's see your response. And that correct response will add This makes you our new champion, Player One, so congratulations. We'll see you next time.